bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. This is Tofader Noor from our United States studio. Viewers, so many things going on in the world. We don't like to see any kind of disaster, but we fight with disaster. Our life is miserable. People's life is miserable. We're going to bring what is going on our United States of America and around the world. Today, on the studio with us, George Ortega, our good friend, our network. George, welcome to Millennium News 24 and Today's America. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Noor. I'm a political analyst. I work on issues designed to advance the world, create a happier world. I work on climate change actions, various kinds of strategies to bring to us a more sustainable future, a future that's more equitable to everyone. So essentially, I'm a political activist analyst.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Viewers, today is United States tax season, end of the day. Our all American, 18 years old to all the way over 100. Whatever we are in the life, we have to file tax for Uncle Sam. So this is some people get money, some people don't. Some people have to pay millions of dollars. Viewers, this is our good day. America, every year we paying our share. Middle class and lower class, also under poverty line. But 2% in America, they are not paying their share. They are billionaire, they don't care anything. Also government, I don't know why, government give them side, so many options. So hopefully Biden administration do something. Every human being in America have to get fair share, same share value as a human being. And globally, so much noise going on in Middle East and Eastern Europe. Palestine and Israel by holy place called Al-Aqsa Mosque. Over there, every single day is fighting, killing. No reason. Young kids, teenage children fighting with army and police Israeli. And Israeli do not send the tear gas or rubber bullet. They shoot by real bullet and they kill them. Reason? This Palestine give them land 1948. That's why. Now they have to go out. This is the world we are living. But Israeli, they are a rich country in the Middle East. Palestinian people need a help. Palestinian people need a work. I don't know what reason they are fighting every single day. Anyway, in America, Senate, Congress, they are supporting 100% Eastern European action called Russia and Ukraine. So Russia and Ukraine, so people can, American taxpayer money, they are paying all millions of dollars. Right now, Russian government, Kremlin, Russian President Putin, he tried to demolish whole country. How much United States can help, they're going to see. This is their point. Mr. George, do you have any idea for that?
Well, I think with both examples that you bring up, Israel and the Palestinians and Russia and Ukraine, I think some people would like you to believe that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is about religion. It's not about religion. It's never really been about religion. And they'd like you to believe that this Russia-Ukraine war that they started is about nationalities, about countries. But in both cases, it's wrong, because in both cases, what really started, for example, like, Israel has turned into, in some ways, into an apartheid state. They seize land of the Palestinians. They seize their houses and all. That's like barbaric in today's world. And it's like, what happened? It's not about religion. It's not about nationality. It's about the rich corporations, rich people wanting certain advantages, and that's our problem. That's, the rich corporations, rich individuals who basically bribe our politicians, not just here in the United States, but throughout the entire world. In today's world, in a lot of ways, like we're seeing now in the Ukraine, they're calling the shots. For whatever reason, they believe they can make money attacking Ukraine. Naturally, some people are making money when the Palestinians are denied their land or land is taken from them. So I think we need to focus not on the religious aspects of this, not on the nationalistic, geopolitical border aspects, but on the financial aspects. Who is talking with Putin in addition to Trump to induce him to cause this aggression? So I think once we ask the right questions, who are calling the shots, then I think we can determine that, it's rich people that are doing it, not for the benefit of the Ukraine or Russia or Israel, but for their own benefit. And we need to address that. People need to understand the dynamics of what's running, not just American politics, but politics throughout the world.
You are 100% right. Billionaire and industrialist, corporation holder, they try to making money, billions of dollars, when fighting each other, like Russia, Ukraine. If you remember, Lebanese fight and Libya, Iraq, Iran, then coming again Iraq and Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Yemen, now is Ukraine. But our government never declare how much money and how much arms and ammunition we supply in Middle East. But what wrong is the Biden administration? Biden administration declare everything. Oh, we supporting right now this time like 800 millions of dollar arms and ammunition. So that's why Russia getting upset. I never saw any administration declare in press conference they are talking about what they are doing. Do you have any clue, George, why they are doing these things?
This is a new phase. It's I suppose no longer a Cold War with Russia. They attack, invade a country. It's now a warm or a hot war. And this is something so unexpected. We had made so much progress after Gorbachev, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, just establishing a more democratic world. That no, I don't have Biden's strategy of announcing his plans. I don't I really don't know what his options are. I mean, we're going to hope that the sanctions work. Again, those $800 million, people are those are going to buy arms, to buy munitions, tanks, weapons, and people are profiting from that. So one way to understand what we're doing is like to understand who's profiting from it. But in terms of
question is, George, like we fight, we are since Vietnam to Second World War to Vietnam, and Korean War, then is coming like Lebanese and Iran, Iraq, then again Iraq, first Gulf War, George Bush did, 1989, you remember that. Then is coming Bill Clinton time in Yugoslavia, Serbia and what is the other country? Montenegro, Serbia and Kosovo over there, 96, 95 to 97 or 98. Then is coming again, what is the call? Iraq and Afghanistan. I never heard our administration declare what is they going to do in the field and how much they invest and why they are investing. They never declare anything. Always is secret. This is the secret document, whatever we do. But our government, this administration, they declare everything. They have any kind of view why they are declared?
Yes, I've heard that strategy to kind of like to telescope our intentions, our plans. Again, I don't know enough about the strategy of fighting a war like this to understand the benefits of that. But my focus is more on why did this happen? If you talk about Libya, Iraq, the Middle East, anywhere in the world, I mean, like this has been going on in Vietnam for decades. It's always the same reason. So why is Biden, being so transparent what he's doing? There has to be some advantage, but that's in a certain sense that's not the point. The point is like, how do we get people to understand that a few people in the world, a few very rich people, have started this war, and perhaps Biden's strategy is to, through this transparency, to get people to like look a layer deeper into this issue, to not see it on the surface, to understand their various influences working beneath the scenes, behind the scenes, rich people That's my hope. But the answer, in addition, I think transparency a lot of times is good. But the answer is he's got to go much further than that. He's got to explain to the American people, the reason Putin invaded the Ukraine was that he's trying to help Trump evade prison for his insurrection for January 6th. He's trying to, he helped Trump get elected. And then we have to ask the question, all right, who is the money behind Putin? And so regardless of where we go in the world, money controls our planet right now as a country. And again, the transparency may be a right step in that direction, but the final answer for Biden, for the rest of the world, is to finally acknowledge it, to stop being distracted by these national, quote unquote, religious pretexts and begin to talk about the real reason these wars start, the real reason that people are oppressed, that people are disenfranchised.
You are right, but one thing you can see, we already support Ukraine few billions dollars, not millions, few billions dollars, our taxpayer money. But whole Europe, they already declare only $50 million help in Ukraine. So this is their backyard. It's not us, our backyard. This is their backyard, their country, their neighbor. But we paying everything. Do you know why? What is it?
My guess?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more money in the United States than there is in the European countries. Our military is bigger than all of them put together, but I think the money in the United States has a lot more influence. So these billions that we're pumping into Ukraine, they're going to buy arms. They're going to make rich people in the United States richer through these sales. So we give the money to the Ukraine, but under conditions that they buy, weapons, they buy missiles, tanks, whatever they need. And then, it's no coincidence that American contractors, American military corporations are selling these products. So yes, the reason why Europe isn't investing as much in that is because they're rich, because the rich control those countries also aren't nearly as rich as the rich people here in the United States. And that probably explains that disparity.
Listen, I understood we have almost $10 trillion budget every year, America, but $1.5 trillion budget in France. Also, over $3 trillion budget in Germany. Also, Great Britain, Norway. Those country is rich country. Their budget is over trillions dollars. They have the money. Why? My question is, American people, we are suffering. We have a lot of problem, lot of issue in our land, our soil. We are just investing like a water. Money is like a water. We are just throw out the money on the ocean in Ukraine. Now Russian government, Russian administration, also Russian TV, Russian newspaper. Today AP, Reuters, also New York Times, they saying the Russian president declare he gonna demolish the whole country. Let's see what is America gonna do.
Yeah, and short of going to war with them, which I'm not sure anyone wants or Biden's prepared to do, the economic sanctions seem to be, our strongest weapon. At this point, I don't know how long the war will last, but we have to keep in mind, why Putin began this war. Because if we don't focus on his reasons, then we've got bigger problems. Yes, I mean, Russia is a small country, Ukraine is a very small country, but they're important. But what's much more important is what's going on here, what went on here the 4 years of Trump and his literal attempt to overthrow our government. So like the idea is that, there are problems throughout the world. Ukraine is going to remain a problem for as long as it does, but we cannot allow it to distract us from more important problems. Basically, the problem with Ukraine is they're losing their democracy, they're losing their sovereignty to Russia. And the problem here in the United States and through the rest of the world is like the rest of the world, we're losing our sovereignty, not to Russia, but to the rich people, to the billionaires, to the people who started this war. So, while we need to do as much as we can with the sanctions and end that war as soon as possible, we really need to focus on and address the issue before us with the threat that Trump continues to pose. Had Biden imprisoned Trump, basically charged him and indicted him on Biden's first day of office, because I think that's what he should have done, for attacking our capital, I don't think Putin would have invaded Ukraine. It's like our passivity in prosecuting Trump is what emboldens Putin, and emboldens not just him, but other autocratic leaders throughout the world. So, settling, fixing what happened in Ukraine is going to take time, economic sanctions and all. But our bigger problem by far is that Trump is still free to cause, more wars, to cause more havoc. I think you just heard that a Saudi country just gave Jared Kushner $2 billion. I mean, what's that about? He should be in prison also. These people committed treason, committed sedition, an insurrection against our capital. They killed people. We need to, in this way that we can, through our legal system, through our laws, we need to bring down the people who are starting wars like the war in Ukraine.
You bring President Trump, his ally, what they did January 6. This is criminal activities. Our government, our rule of law, our justice system have to work, but they are not working. This is one thing. They are not working. They are working only for you and me. They don't work for millionaire, billionaire, and politician. So this is called American justice system. And other thing you talking about, Biden should put him in the jail. If he did it, Biden, is one thing whole world going to see what is America did their own president. If we do something wrong, we're going to be catch. Of course, you remember 1988 or 89, President Bush take over by army General Noriega from Panama. Do you remember?
I do remember, yes.
Yeah. He put him in the Florida jail, and he died last year on the jail. He was a president of one of the, South American country, Panama. So, our government have to have a, have to have a force, have to have a political ego, but probably Biden is soft. Biden is totally soft for criminal. I'm not talking the Trump, I'm talking the all criminal. Whatever he tried to do, Whole America now is crime. Every city, every single day, few people died. Gunshot, gunshot, gunshot. Why he don't, stop the gun selling? Why he don't do something for background check? He don't do it. So what kind of ball he have? He don't. I don't think so. If you have any idea, tell our viewers.
Yeah, well, back in the 60s and 70s, for example, this country was much more violent than it is now. There were a lot more killings, especially in New York City and all. Things have gotten a lot better, but obviously they're not good enough. We need, and so like you ask yourself, so why aren't they instituting gun laws? The Republican Party, that's the army of the rich, they're comfortable with violence. They're comfortable with aggression. They're comfortable when people are being killed and people are being threatened and people are afraid, because that's how they do business. They threaten people. That's what this war in Ukraine is about. So it's a problem that we've had for decades. You talked about, yes, the rich and powerful are breaking laws every day, financial laws, and getting away with it. And that's been the status quo here and throughout a lot of the world, in a lot of ways. But we have to separate all those crimes and that violence from what happened on January 6th. They're completely different categories. Yes, we have to reduce violence in the United States among citizens. We have to have gun laws and all, but we cannot do that while we condone through our inactivity this attempt to overthrow our government. So like the idea is like we need to take this a step at a time. So like let's say the goal is to have strong gun laws. The goal is to reduce the violence of citizens versus citizens here in the United States.
George, please stay with us. Viewers, we are going to short break. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
We are back again. Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. So many lovely things going on in American soil. This is the land of opportunity. This country built by immigrant. This is the land of immigrant. And we need a worker. But our Biden administration bring from Ukraine, supposed to he declare, and Congress and Senate declare only 100,000 with family member, all together 100,000. Right now is over 2 million people, and I don't see our Republican friend and Democrat friend, they are talking anything. Now these people gonna get residency, these people get a loan, these people get everything. But colorful people, the southern border, western border, right now, like a 4, 5, 6 years, they are waiting for their hearing. You know, they cannot get their hearing. They are some part of Mexico. This is the justice system we have. But Biden administration already hired 3,000 or 4,000 judge for the immigration, southern border, western border. So yesterday, our Texas governor, he sent his horse ranger to the border side, immigration border. No one cannot get in by car or walk. Legal people, he blocked it. This is the land of United States of America, is not Texas. Why he doing these things? Is embarrassing. Whole of the world is laughing. What is going on, George?
Well, the problem of immigration hasn't really been addressed by either party for decades. We invite Mexican workers here because our companies can get away with paying them very little for doing work, but that's just basically addressing a symptom of the problem. The underlying problem with immigration is that we have failed in our responsibility to develop those countries. I mean, people do not leave their countries, when they're economically vibrant, when they're democratic, when they have good lives there. So the problem with immigration is the problem that we and the rest of the world have to develop South America, have to develop Mexico, so that their citizens no longer need to flee for safety or to find jobs. But as we were talking before, we could draw an analogy. This, the immigration problem, the Ukraine, the Middle East, wherever we go, these are like symptoms. Like, imagine the world as a building that, let's say the Ukraine is the roof is collapsed. It needs to be fixed. The immigration problem is that the plumbing needs to be completely updated and all. And so we have these major problems, but in this building, in this analogy, the building is on fire. And then the fire is the January 6th insurrection. The fire is that our enemies have gotten so brazen, so bold as to attack our Capitol building. So, yes, we need to address those things, but we need to address the underlying forces and political factors and economic factors that are responsible for the way the world is, whether it's immigration in Ukraine. And that must begin by holding Trump accountable. Putin invaded the Ukraine because he knew he could get away with it, because he saw that it was a year and Biden had still not prosecuted Trump. So yes, there are problems that need to be addressed, but by far, the greatest problem to the world and to the United States is that Trump has not yet been convicted and imprisoned for his crime, and his people, his followers, and his followers around the world have not yet been warned that their aggression, their attempts to usurp people's democracies will no longer be tolerated. So yes, it's important to think and talk about the world's problems, but we can do that endlessly, without solving the root problem. And that's what we need to do. We need to talk about, how we can take the first step. And, I've said it before, the Republican Party is now a terrorist organization. They basically, they're brazen, they defend a person who attacked our Capitol and killed people. So the idea, we have to think about this politically. How do we disempower the Republican people who are protecting the rich and who are creating these problems? The way to do that is to first hold Putin responsible for, or Trump responsible for the insurrection. Once we do that, he's in prison, Kushner's in prison, Ivanka Trump is in prison. The whole cabal is in prison. Then the next step is that we need to explain to the American people this Republican Party who continues to support them has become treasonous. They're like a terrorist organization. So this November, we have the opportunity of a lifetime, because like the Republican Party overreached so egregiously, we have the opportunity this November to win major majorities in Congress, so we can get the money out of politics, so we can do what needs to be done. That's where we are. We can talk about like solving the world's problems and why the world is the way it is, but if we're inactive, unwilling to do what we need to do about this attack on our democracy, we can't do anything else. Conversely,
George, one thing, the justice system is sleeping. We can talk, we can say whole years, month, does not matter. Our justice system is sleeping. Justice for poor people, middle class people, colorful people, and rich people, and highly official people, they don't need any justice. They are powerful in the world. Okay? That's why our government doing nothing. This is one thing I'm going to bring you. Russia president already, he have so many allies in the world. Syria, Central Asia, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, North Korea, so many others. Also, he get his ally in our backyard now. Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Panama, Ecuador, Venezuela, Barbados, Barbados, and Dominican Republic, also Cuba and Bahamas. Those people try to hit Russian president, send his foreign minister, all this country right now, they are visiting, get ally and put the, do you remember the Cuban missile? So probably they're going to do these things. So we don't care, we do not care our neighbor. We care thousands, hundred thousands of miles away from the people. But we should care our neighbor first. We don't. Our government is thinking our neighbor gonna do whatever we thinking they can do. We gonna use them as a slave. No, they are democratic country. They have a people. They have a voter. So what is your idea? What is our neighbor gonna do and our government gonna do?
Whether it's Syria, Mexico, South America, Middle East, the problem is the same. It's been the same for decades. The problem is that money, people who are very rich are controlling what we do and what we don't do. I mean, these problems you're citing are important, but they pale in comparison to climate change. Climate change is a threat. Trump is a blip in history compared to climate change. And so we're waking up to that. We're waking up to, yes, the answer is that there's money in this country controlling our politicians, that there's money in the other countries controlling their politicians. Now, we have to stay focused on the battleground. The battleground, yes, the end goal is to get the money out of politics. Because without money out of politics, we cannot do what we need to do, especially about climate change. So how do we do that? Again, it has to be a step-by-step process. If we don't do anything about Trump, about his insurrection, we can't do anything about anything else. If we prosecute and convict him, then we reduce the numbers of Republicans in Congress. And then the last part is just as important as the rest. At that point, the Democrats are not as corrupt as the Republicans, but they are still corrupt. And so we need to make them, once Trump is in prison, once his insurrection has been properly punished, we have to make the Democrats get the money out of politics. That's, it can't be any more simple. We want to improve the world. We want to help South America, the Mexican people. We cannot do it while the power structure of the world remains the same. And so, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because we've been trying to settle this problem for decades, and we haven't been able to. But now we have an opportunity because they overreached. They went too far. It's like when Hitler and the Nazis attacked Europe, when Japan attacked us on Hawaii, Pearl Harbor. They went too far. They paid the price. We created a better world. This is where the world is now. Trump and the Republican Party went too far on January 6th. This is the war that we're engaged in now that we need to win if we're going to win the wider battles throughout the world. If we do not imprison Trump, don't expect progress in anything. Because if we don't imprison Trump, we don't have a democracy. There is no democracy. The rich control the world, and what they want to happen happens. That's the stark reality that faces us. That's why, yes, these problems, we can talk about the problems throughout the world, the Ukraine war and all, but until we understand, until we focus that we need to win this war strongly, we need to show the world that we will not tolerate people like Trump, invading countries and attempting to overthrow governments. We have to stay focused on what we can do today, in order to prepare ourselves in the world on what we must do across the world tomorrow.
George, we are looking for our good friend worldwide who can support us and who can vote for our side, United Nations. You know that. And if you run for election, your family, your own family, your brother and sister do not like you, do not give you vote, do you think you're going to win the election? And you are not taking care of your family member and your community. Do you think some other community going to vote for you? George?
Well, in American politics, politicians like that routinely win because the governments will pay my family and my friends to not vote for me. The government, basically money control.
I am not talking the government paying. I am talking generally. If your family member, your community do not support you, someone going to support you from Ukraine, someone going to support you Russia, someone going to support you from Pakistan, and you going to be win? I don't think so. Your neighbor, your own backyard, and your own house, they don't have a food, they don't have a medicine, they don't have a clothes, they don't have a house. You do not taking care of them, and you try to taking care of them thousands miles away from the people. How come? What kind of human being? And you like to get support from us?
Well, that's the problem we're facing. We basically, yes, our community's in need, and we're not able to address it. But when we ask ourselves, why aren't we able to address the needs of our citizens? We have to go back to the reason. It's always money. It's not like we're not rich enough. We're more than rich enough. We're not doing the right thing because the people on top aren't allowing us. But we have to shift from the problem to the solution. How are we going to get the money out of politics? Because as long as money is in politics, not just in the United States, but across the world, we cannot do what we need to do. So again, that's why I focus on January 6th. It's like January 6th was Hitler invading France and England and Japan and attacking the United States. It was an act of aggression that changes the dynamics of everything, that is so intolerable that we cannot safely ignore it. Once once we show the world that we will not allow things like that in our country, because right now we're defending our democracy. If we don't have a democracy that's working, we are much, much more limited on how we can help the rest of the world. So like our building is on fire now, our democracy is at risk. And we have to address that. And we have to address that in the strongest way in order to then be able to and again, the holy grail of all this is getting the money out of politics. We need to talk about that a lot more because regardless of what issue, what conflict, what problem we talk about throughout the world, the problem is always the same. The problem is rich corporations calling the shots, bribing our politicians. We can no longer afford that.
Mm-hmm. George, Syria and Turkey and Sudan, Yemen and Mali, Ethiopia, those part of the world, people is dying for the medicine and food, also housing. And Palestine and Israel, this is the lifelong generation to generation fight for the land, Palestinian land. So we always send the Peace Corps in Middle East from State Department, from White House. How long we going to do this kind of drama? This is America. This is 21st century. You cannot put the something your ear. People is watching, and this is social media. Lifetime is social media right now. So, what is our government going to do right now?
Yeah, and again, we can talk about Yugoslavia, we can talk about any country, and these are major problems. But again, they pale in comparison to the threat that climate change poses and will continue to pose and will pose increasingly over the next several decades. And so when you ask yourself, well, why haven't we been doing what we need to do about climate change? The answer is obvious, because the rich people in the world have not allowed us. So again, we have to keep our eye on the foundation of all our problems. Money and politics is controlling our politics is why the world is why we're facing climate change, is why Russia attacked Ukraine. It's why Trump thought he could get away with his insurrection. These problems of the world have a common foundation, common basis. I think the young people today, there's a lot of young billionaires now who get what's going on, who get how corrupt it is. That's why they're creating Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, because they understand that our monetary system is controlled by a few rich people. It's not a democratic system. So we're waking up to the understanding that if there's a problem anywhere in the world, money is behind it. So the only way we have of solving those problems is to start focusing on the foundation, on the money that's fueling our problems. And I'm optimistic because the problem has gotten so dire that we have no choice but to do the right thing. We can't walk away from Trump. We can't say, oh yes, you attacked our capital, you killed people, but you will not be prosecuted. We cannot do that. That's what people need to understand. We have to, this is our war. This is our second civil war in the United States. We have to win this war in order to get the money out of politics, in order to solve the problems we're talking about.
George, we're going to go our health and wealth system. Globally, this pandemic since September 2019 to as of today, over 15 million lives gone from this world. And only United States of America, we already passed the million people died from America. And this pandemic is not gone from us. This pandemic, one by one variant gone, another variant come. Omicron gone, another part come. What is called BA.2 is killing hundreds of people in China right now. China, few states already locked down. Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing, those province is already locked down. Millions of people fighting for their life. In United States, already came. Our Attorney General, our House Speaker, Agriculture Secretary, and Homeland Secretary, some others, they have this virus. Also our Mayor, City of New York. So many people already have, and so many people getting to the hospitalized. This variant, they don't have a medicine yet. Pfizer and Moderna, they say they don't have a medicine yet for this virus, this variant. So what kind of vaccine they make, and how people using this vaccine and people dying right now, BA.2 variant. Do you have any idea, George, what going to be happen in the life future?
Well, I mean, a way to understand what's happening now and what we need to do to prevent it from happening in the future is to understand why it's happening. And, this is where we move again. We've done this before, from politics to religion. We're a global population of people. And, I tend to sometimes blame and demonize the rich here because, they really are calling the shots. But it's not just them. We, as a global population, have been horrible, in terms of not just, our allowing the treatment of the poor as we do, but even the poor in every country. Basically, what we do is we, think about this religiously. Think about 800 billion animals every year that are factory farmed, live in torturous conditions, and we're thinking to ourselves, oh, we can escape God's punishment for that. We can torture these animals, we can subject them to the most horrible conditions, and God will be fine with that. No, God is not fine with that. And if God, God will bring us, send us as many pandemics as it takes to awaken our compassion, to make not just our leaders, not just the rich, but all of us behave the way we need to. Fundamentally, this is not a political problem. Fundamentally, this is a moral problem that relates to us as a global population and relates to how we need to become better people so God will be better to us.
George, globally, whole planet, this virus is going to be killing millions of people again. This is God-gifted punishment. We do not respect each other, and we do not love our neighbor, our community, our elderly, or our people in America, also world. Our government, what they going to do? Our people, one of the group, they do not believe science, and they do not believe this kind of vaccine. So, those people get it affected right now. But government is watching. Probably by May, they're going to put some kind of emergency action again in America, CDC and FDA. We don't want to lose our any family member. Whatever we lose it. In future, in coming days, we have to do something, taking care our family member, our loved one, our friends, our community. If we are loving, peaceful human being, whole of the world, we have to, whatever we are, you have to love your community member, your family, your friend, and your neighbor, and help them whatever you can. So, George, this virus already affect China, India, and Nepal, country called Nepal, Burma, and also some part of Vietnam and Korea, South Korea, North Korea. They already is coming. So hopefully government gonna do something. We don't want to blame the government. Government, whatever they try, we are just denying. This is our bad habit. So I don't know if you know medical activities, what's going to be happen in our city of New York or state of New York or Washington DC or whole America, again is going to be massacre or some kind of light things like Omicron. George?
Yeah, let me ask you something, Nora. Do you know the statistics on the number of people in the United States who contracted COVID and died because they did not get vaccinated because they did not wear masks?
Exactly.
Because I believe that it's substantial. I believe the people who are dying in the United States, who are killing other people, are the people who are being irresponsible, who are not caring about their lives, they're not caring about the lives of others. So yes, to the extent that these new variants develop, it's God saying, it's like essentially God killing those people. God is saying, well, you're no longer going to threaten, your families and your friends and your neighbors by not getting vaccinated, by not wearing a mask. So a lot of these people are getting killed. So in a way, it's kind of like, an evolution. There's a weeding of the herd through starvation, Darwinian evolution, where the weakest are eliminated by natural processes. It seems that what our world is going through now with this pandemic is the people who ignore the sanctity of life, the safety and the rights of other people are dying. And it's not the best outcome, but this is God imposing God's justice on us. We have to understand that, things have gotten serious. They will get more serious unless we act. God is compelling us to become much better people. And again, we can't ignore, it's not just about people. 800 billion animals, pigs who are more intelligent than dogs, who have dissensions, who feel pain like toddlers, basically kept in crates for months at a time. It's horrible how we treat these animals. And we need to reform ourselves. It's not an accident. It's not a coincidence that this pandemic, most likely started in a factory farm, in an animal farm, whether you call it a wet market, whatever it is, it's the animal farm industry. And as long as, the people of the world, and this is not just the rich, because like everybody is pretty much involved in this, as long as we ignore the rights and welfare of all these animals, 800 billion, imagine the number every year, then yes, we can expect that God will punish us, and God apparently is punishing those who are most egregious, who are most criminal in this, who are most callous and indifferent, by not getting vaccinated, not wearing masks. God is punishing them, as God is punishing us all for our inhumanity, our cruelty to these animals.
You are right. Viewers, today our time almost end. We are talking about our health issue, pandemic issue, climate, and crime, whatever happening January 6th, and whole America, right-wing peoples, and our justice system, and world politics. And viewers, please watch Millennium News 24/7 and Today's America on iOS and Android device and all smart TVs like Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku and others. Also we are on Amazon Fire TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku Stick, Apple TV. Also globally we are in Jadu TV, Jago BD, Radiant, IPTV. Our social network address Millennium News 24/7. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Also our YouTube channel address News Channel M24. Our colleague and friends round the clock working behind of the camera and front of the camera on the street and outside, out of the country and globally for you, news, views, talk show and editorial and global news, so many others round the clock. We respect and honor our colleague and friend. Viewers, supporting Millennium Foundation, we are support worldwide like Ethiopia, Somalia, Yemen, Syria and Ukraine. If you like to support by PayPal or by account or credit card, Millennium Foundation USA.com. Our Millennium News 24 website is millenniumnews24.com. Also millenniumtv24.com. Viewers, whatever you are, stay, peace, love and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today.